kind of Orwellian nightmare now, and that everything that you hear now contributes to turning you into a robot. See, I think it's quite possible that the 1960s represented the last burst of the human being before he was extinguished, and that this is the beginning of the rest of the future now, and that from now on there'll simply be all these robots walking around, feeling nothing, thinking nothing, and there'll be nobody left almost to remind them that there once was a species called a human being with feelings and thoughts, and that history and memory are right now being erased, and soon nobody will really remember that life existed on the planet.
All this you used to struggle with. Now we think for you.
We are your guardians, after all.
You want to control human thought, human behavior?
Of course. Anything can be quantified nowadays.
A new theory about human nature was put forward by Sigmund Freud. He had discovered, he said, primitive sexual and aggressive forces hidden deep inside the minds of all human beings. Forces which, if not controlled, led individuals and societies to chaos and destruction. This series is about how those in power have used Freud's theories to try and control the dangerous crowd in an age of mass democracy. At the heart of the story is not just Sigmund Freud, but other members of the Freud family. This episode is about Freud's American nephew, Edward Bernays. Bernays is almost completely unknown today, but his influence on the 20th century was nearly as great as his uncle's. Because Bernays was the first person to take Freud's ideas about human beings and use them to manipulate the masses. He showed American corporations for the first time how they could make people want things they didn't need by linking mass-produced goods to their unconscious desires. Out of this would come a new political idea of how to control the masses. By satisfying people's inner selfish desires, one made them happy and thus docile. It was the start of the all-consuming self, which has come to dominate our world today.
Now, I also mentioned, too, that a fellow that has been in touch with me for an awful long time, his brother was in the CIA, or is in the CIA. He will never talk about the CIA to him. He'll never give anything away whatsoever, except one bit of advice. He said, never watch the television. Never watch the television. It's the greatest scientific indoctrination tool ever devised. Haven't you figured that out? It's changed the whole culture of nations, not just one nation. Why do you think it was mandatory that everybody in Britain give access to televisions by the government? Why do you think China is under the same program to get everyone with a TV right now? Because they love to have you entertained. Do you really think that? And India is on the same route as well right now too. Most of your ideas and your opinions and how you emulate, because you emulate things, you mimic what you see. As Charles Galton, Darwin and others have said in the past. It becomes you, you become it. And that's what's happened. It's been very, very, very successful. Never watch the television. You can't watch a movie unless you do it critically. If you watch it critically, not there to enjoy it. Remember what they say, it's your emotions that get you on. And it's interwoven, all these emotional themes all through movies. You're played like a harp. And they embed ideas into you, along with the movies. And predictive programming too. So you'll accept that which is still to come. And you'll behave the same way as the characters in the movie when it comes. Oh well, what can you do? I'll just watch much music or television. Yeah. You're given a mind of your own. And you've got to use it for yourself.
Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility
is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities, the El Paso, Las Cruces communities, Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
We are concerned about trouble and irresponsible one-sided news stories plaguing our country. Plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 It's odd to see all of these anchors saying the same thing at the same time with the words that have come out of one central location in Baltimore, Maryland. That's not our tradition in the United States. It's massive propaganda.
He could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think, and that is our job.
Yeah.
Well, on the character issue, the public, 2/3 or more of the public knows that Hillary Clinton's a liar. She can't be trusted, and now the two faces of Hillary Clinton are coming out. The fact through WikiLeaks that she says one thing and
oh no. All right, let's see if we can get Congressman Collins back. Obviously, we just lost his satellite feed. That sucks. Also interesting is, remember, it's illegal to possess these stolen documents. It's different for the media. So everything you learn about this, you're learning from us. And in full disclosure, let's take a look at what is in there and what it means. Joining us now, CNN.
Look, when the greatest gift anyone is given is the ability to be completely conscious. And it's understandable with the crisis creation, to create uncertainty, confusion, and fear, that people are unable to handle their conscious mind, so they turn to something to escape. It's all a technique. But when you see such a war being played on your conscious mind, that should be your cue to, rather than throw away your ability to be conscious, fight to keep it, fight to retain your conscious mind, your ability to go further. Don't be afraid of all the hype they throw your way, and impending gloom, doom, and horror and crisis after crisis. That's the technique to wear you down. It's the technique to control you. And another thing I've said over and over is that the big, well-funded people who come out, either pretending to lead you through the new age, did not get there by chance. And the other ones who go into the political side of things, and that's their chant, is to wrap you back into politics again and terrify you with all impending things that are going to happen to you. Well, see, psychological warfare doesn't care who gives that to you, that information, whether it's a guy in government or a person who pretends to speak for you. The whole idea is to paralyze you with fear so that you're not thinking critically and rationally. So be careful. You are the guardian of your own mind. No one else is. And within those walls that protect your mind, You have sacred ground. Sacred ground. Be careful who you allow to walk upon it.
And it's their feeling that there have to be centers now where people can come and reconstruct a new future for the world. And when I was talking to Gustav Bjornstrand, he was saying that actually these centers are growing up everywhere now. And that what they're trying to do, which is what Findhorn was trying to do, and in a way, what I was trying to do. I mean, these things can't be given names, but in a way, these are all attempts at creating a new kind of school or a new kind of monastery. And Bjornstrand talks about the concept of reserves, islands of safety, where history can be remembered and the human being can continue to function in order to maintain the species through a dark age. In other words, we're talking about an underground, which did exist in a different way during the Dark Ages among the mystical orders of the Church. And the purpose of this underground is to find out how to preserve the light, life, the culture, how to keep things living. You see, I keep thinking that what we need is a new language, a language of the heart. Languages in the Polish forest where language wasn't needed. Some kind of language between people that is a new kind of poetry. That's the poetry of the dancing bee that tells us where the honey is. And I think that in order to create that language, you're going to have to learn how you can go through a looking glass into another kind of perception where you have that sense of being united to all things, and suddenly you understand everything.